All right, traders, welcome to today's market recap. This is Christian Farmer. It's Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Tuesday, the 19th. Something for everybody with this market. As yesterday, it was some of the bigger cap. It was the magnificent seven names, if you will, that were doing the heavy lifting yesterday. The Qs outperformed yesterday. Today, and by the way, and yesterday, the small caps were flat. They didn't do anything. Today, you had the small caps flying today, up 2%, as well as the microcaps. If you watch them as well, that's IWC. That was up a little bit more than IWM, so very strong there. And no slouch there for the Qs, which were also up 0.5%. Even though it didn't feel like it was a big day for that index, still outperforming quite well, up 0.5%. SPY up 60 basis points, and then the Dow, which continues to chug along and make new highs. Really impressive. FedEx is down a little bit there after hours on earnings. Just figured I'd show that chart. But here's what the Dow looks like. I mean, to me, it's just not getting that much attention, but the Dow is the one that just is chugging along, very, very strong. Whoop, look at that. Even stronger when you look at the chart like that. But just continues to methodically move higher. It's not super extended away from the 5-day moving average. Is it super extended above the 20-day moving average? Yeah, I would say that. And I went over this yesterday, so I won't do it again. But the indices, they are overbought. So for example, the RSI is an 84 right now for the diamond. So that's pretty cooked. So that's the adjective that I used yesterday. So the way that I was talking with Joel from Benzinga after, not after hours, but at the end of the day in his closing print segment that he does on YouTube. And I was just saying that, he's like, well, what do you do when you have the indices overbought like this? I said, you're just kind of cognizant that the market is pretty much priced to perfection. We know that the fear and greed index, which is not my favorite sentiment indicator, but that's extreme fear. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a sell signal per se, but it's just the fact that that anything at this point might cause a little bit of movement down. And we are gearing up towards the end of the year, and there's not a lot of selling right now going on right now. So that we've got a lot of momentum in the market. How long that continues, I don't know, but you kind of have to think with the Dow, which has been a superstar at an 85 RSI, you can't go, if you get to 90, that's really, really, really hot. But even just a move back, I mean, like even like a move down, like a 0.5%, would kind of get that to cool off a little bit, and probably just a little bit of time too. You can see here that we're fairly extended above the 20-day moving average, but I'll tell you, the rotation, and this is what's pretty special about when the market gets like this, where it's one group one day and another group and another day. And the small caps, if we zoom in here, right, had a little bit of backing and filling a little bit because they did get way in front of the 5-day moving average, and you had a couple digestion days and back out to new highs for the year. So this is doing something different. We have almost taken out the highs from this year, but we have taken out the highs there in I think that's July, as well as where we were at the end of January too. So again, it's just kind of funny when you look at what the Dow is doing and the small caps. But again, it's where are they? What's the road like in front of them versus like what they've done this year, which has been sideways as hell. But really some nice momentum there. And again, you really can't complain too much about the other indices. So today, and I'll kind of keep this video kind of brief today. But yes, the small microcaps lead. Copper also doing pretty well. I like what's going on in that space, right? Copper was up today, up 1.3%. I did add a trade today in FCX, even though this is a little bit hot too, hot. But I think it can continue to push here. Also watch this you can watch a lot of these. For short-term trades, I tend to watch the 1-hour chart. As long as it stays above 41.74, it's having a little bit of trouble with this 1-hour VPOC, but I stayed long this name. So that was, I thought, one of the themes as well. Also, if you notice the VIX down, slightly down, not doing much again today. The dollar was down, bonds were up. Reminder that we do get a 20-year bond auction tomorrow at 1 o'clock. A lot of short squeezes today, and I think actually value outperformed a little bit. Value was up about 70 basis points. Again, that's large cap value versus growth. So like I said, even though, I mean, no slouch for growth to be up 0.5%, but value was a little bit stronger for today. So those short squeeze names, of course, Affirm just flew up here today. And if you what's important, right? Because if you look at this, and this has been a huge move that's happened, basically since that Thanksgiving weekend move when they talked about stronger sales for Black Friday. Look at the volume, by the way, in a firm. But I think what helps is when you look at this weekly chart. Right. And notice what's been going on here. It's now you can stay long here. Now, I know this is a decent clip down, but it just did get through this today, basically, is this 44.44 level. So it's made its way all the way through the value area for the year. And let's see if it can continue to hang above there because this went sideways for a while, which by the way is how a number of names in downtrends, once they begin to recover, they usually do this stage 1, stage 2, and then stage 3 and stage 4. But this went sideways for a while, and crazy was a $10 stock, just going back to where it was on the lows of this year. Other areas that did very well is Carvana. Again, these names still have a big short interest, but Carvana was up, what, 7% today. This also, again, if you're looking for like a nearby level, like if you feel like you've gotten left out of some of these trades, just watch the highs from this year. Notice that it gapped through those, right? So I would say 55 is a level, because, this could be like, runaway at this point, with the short interest in this, because I think that this name, it's not as extended as some of the other ones. I mean, it is overbought here in the short term. The RSI is an 83, but this thing could stay overbought for a bit. And I think the used car market is not something to be messed with at this time. So those are, of course, there's so many other names. Chewy got an upgrade too, which was a catalyst. Got a broker upgrade. This name was up 9% today. Again, still deep in a downtrend, but moving higher. Now, so again, today I think was very much about some of those names. Look at the solar names. We're up 4.6%, right? That's another area that's been hammered. Look at XME up another 3% today. So those metals and mining, which I've been talking, is this way, I got long some FCX today, but this has been such a nice move. And again, you go back to the weekly chart here in the metals and mining. Right, just continuing to trend here, and now above those highs from this year. Here was your breakout of the value area. Again, I've been showing this one, which is the steel ETF. Notice we did come up here and take out this VPOC, but again, I kind of like this pattern. I don't know what you call it. A lot of consolidation and a move higher. By the way, if I didn't mention this, I really liked how Michael Santoli on CNBC mentioned that we're short-term overbought, but when you look at a lot of these indices like the S&P, we haven't gone anywhere. If you look at the overall value from where we were back in towards the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, we really haven't gone anywhere. So I mean, this could be, once we kind of get over some of those overbought levels, this could be the start of something as we get into the new year, meaning out to more new highs, I should say, right? Because we're already experiencing them in several of the indices. All right. What else did I want to cover? Just some of the digestion, like NVIDIA, which I think it got some type of a downgrade. I mentioned this pre-market. I said, if you really liked NVIDIA yesterday, find these stocks that are down 1% on some, stupid broker call, is where you want to kind of get involved in some of these names that are in uptrends that are digesting a little bit, right? This is not broken the value area, but I would rather be going after the name down 1% than when it's up 2 or 3%, right? And SMCI, which was a name that, I think everybody was talking about yesterday, just an inside day today. So again, better, like a much better entry point than to me than chasing the highs yesterday. I like ARM as well, right? That's a name that I've gone back to a couple times here in the last few months. This has been a real big winner for me over the last couple months, and I keep trying to add a little bit into digestion. So it didn't work today. The semis weren't the group today, which again, that's perfectly fine. Same thing with the cyber names. They didn't do anything today, even though this was up another 0.75%. So maybe the cyber names that I'm in didn't do anything. Like CrowdStrike was kind of flat for today. That's fine. Like these names that just go sideways for a little bit, the strength in this market, if it continues, I still think that 265 VPOC gets taken out. So that's kind of where my head's at. I thought VRT looked pretty good. I started a position in this one too. A little bit of a pushback in here. Same thing with the home builders, by the way. Let these things digest a little bit. This has been, essentially a rocket, this home builder ETF. So, let names like BLDR, right, kind of come in here a little bit. BLDR, the level that I'm watching for tomorrow is 164.58. Right, another one that's on my watch list for tomorrow. Remember this guy, Uber, right? Uber doing a little bit of like, this is perfect. Let this digest a little bit, right? Let the 20-day moving average catch up a little bit. And maybe if it does, maybe you can get a better entry point somewhere around the 60 level. But even so, like starting, and that's another thing too, that if you feel like you want to get involved in some of these names that have been streaking like this to the upside, right? Even in here, you can start a position as long as you're okay with adding more into like the 60, maybe even 59 level, right? Because that would be some nice digestion. So that's kind of what I'm keeping Uber on the radar too. I'm long this name in the TTG trend portfolio, but don't have it on right now in the in my trading account. I'll leave it there for today, but another nice day. Not much to really kind of to complain about today. Just a lot of strength with this market and a lot of rotation. I think right now that if your names didn't go today, just be patient because this market comes around and is lifting up a lot of different groups depending on the day. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.